actually told me today that he customized his trainer, and I've been bothering him for a few weeks about this, so I'm glad that he finally did that, and we'll be able to see it right in a second here. And there it is. I'm very proud of you, Grant.
So it looks like Grant's going to start out with Muck and Arcanine, and Keegan is starting out with Arcanine and Tapu Lele. So Tapu Lele is going to use Psychic Surge on the battlefield.
Yep. So looking at this just straight off, I think Grant has an advantage here because Muck all but walls Tapu Lele, and the Arcanines match up really well against each other. They don't do anything, so Arcanine doesn't do much to Muck at all. So I have a feeling we might see both Arcanines just switching out this turn, or see Grant just doubling into that Tapu Lele.
So it looks like Grant is going to protect his Arcanine, and Keegan's Arcanine is going to use Will-O-Wisp on that Muck, potentially getting some chip damage off the burn every single turn.
Yes, that's really big because Muck relies on its physical attack, and with already intimidated and now it's burned, it won't be doing as much for the rest of the game to anything on Keegan's side.
But we do see Keegan's Tapu Lele using its Psyche MZ and
Shattered Psyche.
Yeah.
And going through the Protect, and it only does about 25%, so that would have been a knockout if it wasn't for that Protect.
But still some pretty good damage there, even though the Protect.
Yeah, and we see that Poison Jab coming off from Muck onto Tapu Lele, and it did really bad damage compared to what it should be doing at full non-intimidated, non-burn status. So we see that paying dividends for Keegan right now. It's a pretty even turn for both players. I think Keegan got a little bit more out of it, getting that burn down out of that physical attacker. And now we see Keegan just going for the Snarl, so I think he's trying to predict the switch in of special attacker and wants to just keep the pace of the game under control.
And that Tapu Lele is going to use Psychic now into that Arcanine. Not quite close enough for that knockout. But you'll see that Arcanine using a Mango Berry.
Yeah.
Another Super Citrus.
It is interesting to note that it seems Keegan's Arcanine's faster, and then his Tapu Lele's as fast. Slightly slower, and then Grant's Arcanine's slower than both of them.
And we also got some interesting information there that Keegan's Arcanine is holding a Shuka Berry.
Yeah, is it? That's really...
Yeah, when that Muck used a knockoff. Very interesting to see on Arcanine.
Yeah, I haven't seen that all this season, so I'm wondering how that's paying off for Keegan. I bet you it helps it survive those Technotic Rages from those Garchomps. Not those Groudons, that would be too scary.
Yeah, thank goodness Groudon is not going to be seen in this meta.
Yeah. So I think we're still in this pretty neutral spot of battle, and I think Keegan's just trying to not even stall, just like take control of the battle by lowering the special attack of both Grant's Pokemon, and Keegan's trying to just get rid of this Arcanine, and I think Grant is trying to just keep it healthy, keep whatever he has in the bag healthy from a Snarl, so that it can just knock out the Arcanine.
So it kind of looks like Grant is trying to knock out that Tapu Lele over there. Must be putting a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it seems to be the thing that's putting the most pressure of Keegan's team, and I don't know if he has the power to get rid of it. It's going to be on the field another turn, and I'm actually not sure if Grant's going to just let his Arcanine go down here, because it's not serving any purpose for him, so he might just let the Arcanine faint and start attacking with Muck to knock out the Lele, and then bring in something to deal with the Arcanine, maybe like Tapu Koko or Rockwanid.
Well, you know, it's like a very interesting in mirror matchups when you have the same Pokemon. Like, the speed stat's very important.
Yeah. And so we see Keegan bringing his Muck over the Tapu Lele. So we're assuming that Grant went for a Poison Jab into Keegan's Tapu Lele, and we'll see... Oh, he went for a knockoff. So that will get rid of Keegan's Figgy Berry. It doesn't do much damage at all, and
Yeah, but knocking off that Figgy Berry was kind of an important step for Grant to take.
Yeah, it basically let Grant deal 50% of Muck's health because it took away that recovery, because not much does one hit KO it. So it did do a lot for Grant.
Looks like Grant is going to preserve his Arcanine by switching it out and switching to a Rockwanid. So we're going to have to see how Keegan answers that, especially with Arcanine still on the field.
Yeah, so the thing about Araquanid is it has this water bubble ability. It doubles the power of water type moves, and it makes sure you can't be burned. So it also has the power of fire moves too, so it's 3 abilities in one. So Keegan can't burn that Araquanid, and we see the weirdness disappearing from the battlefield.
We also saw Grant's Muck actually get off in prison.
Oh yeah, that's really important because now Keegan can't use any attacks on his Muck except for maybe Shadow Sneak if he has it.
Muck and Imprison are actually a fairly common combo that we see.
Yeah, it's been picking up speed lately. It's just to sort of get rid of other Mucks and lock out Protect. So you're able to just lock down Protect and take out whatever you want on the field. It's a very good late game thing to use.
Ooh, but looks like Grant actually predicted that switch in, and that Tapu Lele is going to go down.
Yeah, that's a shame for Keegan, and his Muck is struggling. You won't see this very often, so you'll see it do a 40 base power typeless move and take 25% in recoil, and that's what Struggle does. We see Grant going for the Hydro Vortex with his Araquanid. It only has one target right now, so it's going to go into that Muck. And this has a good chance to one-hit KO or deal the rest of the damage to Keegan's Muck. And so we'll see it go off, and we'll see Muck go through the Whirlpool of Doom. And
it will knock it out.
It will. So that is very good for Grant. He just took out 2 Pokemon this turn, and I don't think he's lost one yet. So it looks like Keegan was trying to control the pace of battle at the early end of the game, and now it's sort of mid-game and going into the late game here, and Grant has a 4-2 advantage, I believe.
So now we're going to see the Tapu Koko.
Yeah, we see the Tapu Koko, and that is the Arcanine back end.
So now we're going to see a change to Electric Surge in the battlefield. So that Tapu Koko is going to get an increased boost. Especially against that Araquanid, that's going to be very helpful.
Yeah, it's going to be able to take out that Araquanid really quickly if it stays in, but I can imagine that either Grant has trained that Araquanid to survive a Tapu Koko's Thunderbolt and Electric Surge, or he's just going to switch it out to something else, and maybe switch the terrain if he can.
Looks like Araquanid is going to be removed from the battlefield, and Arcanine is going to come back out. Maybe potentially baiting the Tapu Koko's
Thunderbolt.
Yeah.
I think that might show us that he doesn't have Protect, which would be odd on a watery MZ set, but we'll see what happens. He might just be trying to let Muck take care of Tapu Koko
and
instead.
And that Tapu Koko lost some of its life after using Lightning Bolt, which kind of makes it seem like it has Life Orb.
Yeah, it definitely has Life Orb. So we've revealed what? Shuca Berry and Life Orb? Shuca Berry and the Arcanine Life Orb on Tapu Koko.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we saw Tapu Lele's item. And Muck had a Figgy Berry.
We did see Tapu Lele's item,
yeah.
Because earlier in the matchup, Keegan's Tapu Lele actually did use Psyche MZ.
Yeah, so yeah, we have seen all 4 Keegan's items, which is very good information for Grant to have. It gives him an advantage if he hasn't revealed his items. But it looks like they're going to just exchange item information here. And Grant's going to go on the offensive with his Tapu Koko.
And that will knock out the Arcanine. But who's to say that that would be a one-hit knockout?
I don't think it would be. It looks like Grant has the upper hand here. He still has, what, 3 Pokemon left?
Still has 3 left. And that Poison Jab is going to do quite a bit of damage to that Tapu Koko.
And it even poisons the Tapu Koko, so it's putting it on a timer. So Grant can just double Protect here protected by his Pokemon and chip down Tapu Koko's health a little bit more.
So Keegan actually had a pretty big disadvantage when Grant got the Imprison off on Muck first.
Yeah, it seemed to be the play that changed the pace of the game. It swung the momentum back into Grant's favor, and I think that was definitely the big moment of this game so far.
Looks like they're going to play it out to the end. Tapu Koko will protect on Grant's side.
Yeah, that's what I like about Keegan. He doesn't know when to give up. He knows when to win. That's the Michigan attitude.
It will not knock out that Muck. That Muck still has 2 HP left.
Yeah, I'm guessing Grant didn't want to protect because that would protect his Muck because that would let it die to burn damage and Dazzling Gleam the next turn. So he just let it go out and survive the Dazzling Gleam and knock out Koko.
So Grant will take this round 1.
Yep, he
but
will.
we still got potentially 2 rounds left, so it's still anyone's game.
Yep, Grant has to win one more game. Keegan has to win too. So Keegan's got more of an uphill battle here, but we can see it happen, and we will maybe see it happen. It's just Pokemon, you know? That's just how it goes. And it looks like Grant's actually won all his battles so far.
He has. He is currently 3-0. Keegan is 2-1.
Yeah, and Grant has won every single battle. He's 2 out all his opponents so far. Yeah, we
pretty
just saw
impressive.
The screen. Yeah. Okay, so what I want to see from Keegan here, I want to see if his Muck can come out first, because that seemed to be the momentum changer for Grant. I want to see if Keegan can use his Muck more effectively, because it just sort of got knocked off and just trounced over by that Araquanid.
Well, we know that Keegan's Muck does actually have Imprison because it didn't have any moves left that it could use when the other Muck was on the field.
Point.
So if Keegan's Muck was capable of getting off Imprison first, that might be a huge game changer in this next round.
Yeah, so both players should know that at that point, that they both have Imprison because of that. And I think Keegan's ready to go. He's got that Michigan attitude. He's ready to go win. And Grant is trying to think it through, and he's being more cautious because he wants to win and he wants to take his time. He needs to think about the 4 Pokemon Mirror match.
Kind of wondering with that 4 Pokemon Mirror match if we're going to see any of the other Pokemon that they did not bring to the battle.
I would like to see Ninetales.
Ninetales is just cute.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But that Aurora Veil is also really good. So you have a cute Pokemon and a bulky Pokemon on the field at the same time. And some people would say it's not bulky because it dies to Bullet Punch from basically anything. But I say it's bulky because it's got, Aurora Veil.
Alright, so looks like Keegan's going to start out with Arcanine and Tapu Koko, and we're going to actually see Grant start with the exact same Pokemon.
Yeah, talk about a 4-Mon Mirror match. We have a 2-Mon Mirror match on the field right now. So, this is very interesting. We know Keegan's Arcanine is faster than Grant's Arcanine. We don't know whether one of their Tapu Kokos is faster. So, we'll have to see what happens there. And we could see just this happen with both players.
We might, but also that Intimidate's not going to do anything to those Pokemon on the battlefield right now.
No,
most of those are
Arcanine.
Maybe to Arcanine, yeah.
The Tapu Koko could Thunderbolt. Either Tapu Koko could Thunderbolt into the Arcanine and Flare Blitz into the Arcanine, and that would maybe get rid of the Arcanine.
Oh, so Keegan's Tapu Koko is going to use a Volt Switch on that Arcanine.
So it looks like Grant is having a much bulkier Arcanine, because that did less than half, whereas Grant's Thunderbolt going into Keegan's Arcanine did like 75%.
And Tapu Fini is going to come out, and that's going to change the battlefield yet again with Psychic Surge.
Yep.
So Grant's Thunderbolt will not be nearly as effective.
And then we see the Volt Switch coming off from Grant's side, and that did about the same damage, but it wasn't in electric terrain, so that shows that Keegan's Arcanine is much less bulky. And now Grant gets to adjust the Tapu Lele because his Tapu Koko went second. So we see the Snarl coming off from Keegan.
Kind of looks like if Keegan's Arcanine is faster, it must be teched for speed rather than bulk.
Yeah, I go through the usage stats a lot, and it seems that Jolly Arcanine is the most common, whereas I think Grant's using more something like a Careful Arcanine that boosts its special defense more. So it's interesting to see that difference in Arcanine come out here. And both of them are using Snarl, so that's good to see. it means that Tapu Lele will be doing much less damage to Grant's side of the field, and we'll be able to see this Muck to take control of the battle. I don't think Keegan has much of an answer to Muck right now, so that's important for Grant to just keep it safe and maybe pull off that Imprison really quickly.
Mock avoided the Will-O-Wisp even though we saw Keegan do this last round, but it missed this time.
Yep, that's what you get for using 85% accurate moves sometimes. You just happen to miss. It's not your fault, and it just happens.
Alright, looks like the Tapu Lele is going to be going for its Psychium Z move, and it looks like it will connect with the Arcanine even though it is protected, only doing 25%.
And yeah, that Arcanine eats it up. Barely does any damage. And the Mago Berry. So, that's really good for Grant this turn.
Ooh, and that Poison Jab actually did an incredible amount of damage, not as much as more than what we saw last round.
Yeah, last round it was Intimidate and Burn, so it had really reduced power output, and now it's not, so it did over double what we saw last round.
It is a shame that Keegan's Arcanine's Will-O-Wisp did miss.
Yeah, that would have helped make that 2-hit KO into a 3-hit KO, or maybe possibly a 4-hit KO, I don't know the rolls, but we'll see what happens this next turn. I would like to see Grant use Imprison, but he's switching out the Muck. And he's bringing back in Araquanid. So, Water Bubble activates, it doesn't affect it because it can't be burned. And Tapu Lele is going for the Psychic on the Arcanine. And that still did quite a bit of damage. That was pretty good.
And Arcanine will take even more chip damage from the damage that it does to Tapu Lele.
Yep. Did that sound like a whale to you?
A little bit.
Yeah. We just had some weird noises in the building. Sorry, folks.
So let's see what Keegan decides to bring out this time. We still haven't seen his fourth Pokemon.
Also, he has that Tapu Koko still. And he's going to use that to help get rid of the Araquanid, possibly. I think the smart play right here is to get rid of the Araquanid and double into it, but I feel like that might be predictable.
And that Arcanine is still a threat.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what Keegan's best play is here. I would like to see him get rid of the Araquanid because that is standing in his way. It's threatening his Arcanine and his Tapu Koko heavily. So maybe we'll see him get rid of it. If not, then we might be seeing just one of Keegan's Pokemon going down immediately here.
So, oh, there's Keegan's fourth Pokemon, Porygon 2. And that download is going to increase Porygon 2's attack.
So what are the chances that Keegan has a physical Porygon 2?
I don't know. That's kind of interesting. But, you know, he didn't really go for the safe play. Well, he went for the safe play there, knocking out that Arcanine.
Yeah. Oh, I see what he's doing. He's switching around just to get that Intimidate back onto Araquanid so that its power output is decreased. I guess he's baiting the Liquidation into Porygon 2, so it'll do very little damage. I'll be interested to see if Keegan's Arcanine does have Wild Charge. And now we see the Araquanid using its Watery MC Z move, and it's going to be Hydro Vortex, and it's going to be pulled into the Vortex once again, and it's going to be the Arcanine.
Arcanine. So Arcanine will definitely go down this round.
So
No question about that.
it looks like he targeted into the Tapu Koko slot, which is interesting. I guess he saw the Tapu Koko as more of a threat than the Arcanine, because the Arcanine can't do anything to Araquanid. And I think that Volt Switch play just backfired on Keegan a little bit. So now we see the Tapu Koko coming back out.
And Grant's Muck.
And Grant's Muck. So Grant's Muck has a great matchup against both these Pokemon here. Muck can just knock off the Porygon 2 and get rid of its Eviolite, and it can also just Poison Jab the Tapu Koko. Tapu Koko is not known for its physical defense, so it can just KO the Tapu Koko anytime it wants.
But Keegan made a smart play there by using Protect on his Tapu Koko because he knew that that Muck was probably going to go for a Poison Jab.
Yeah, it looks like Grant actually doubled into the Tapu Koko, which I don't agree with because you only needed one attack to knock out the Tapu Koko there. So I think Grant's getting a little ahead of himself and trying to outplay something that's not happening, and that's a way that he can get back into this game because he's down 2-3. So I would like to see Grant play a little bit more conservatively and try to spread out his attacks here, and just let Tapu Koko go down to Life Orb, Recoil, and Poison Jab itself.
So that Tapu Koko is incredibly fast. He's going to connect a Thunderbolt onto that Araquanid for the knockout. But let's see if Muck can do enough damage to that Tapu Koko
Yeah,
in
I
order
think
to knock it out with Poison Jab.
Here it goes.
That will be enough.
Yeah.
And that Tapu Koko will get knocked out, which means that Keegan only has Porygon 2 left.
Yep, and we can still see status ailments happen. We could see a freeze on the Muck, too. So this game is not over.
But Muck still had its Super Citrus with its Figgy Berry.
Yeah, so now it's back to almost full health. And what's Grant having to low at the back? Have we seen that yet? No, we did. It was Tapu Koko. So now
this is not looking super good for Keegan right now.
I think Grant just out damages Keegan here. So all he has to do is Thunderbolt and knock off the EVLite, and then that reduces Porygon 2's effectiveness a lot because you remove most of its bulk.
And Grant's going for the safe play there, protecting that Tapu Koko in case that Porygon 2 does target the Tapu Koko with Ice Beam, but it will connect with the Muck. But that Eviolite is no longer with Porygon 2, so it's doing less damage.
Well, Eviolite only boosts defenses, so we'll see Tapu Koko do a lot more damage now than it would have the previous turn. And I think Grant just wanted to play it safe and not let his Tapu Koko get frozen if it got hit by an Ice Beam. And we see the critical hit to knock out Keegan's Porygon 2. So we see it end a little abruptly here, but I'm guessing that without any freezes, it would have gone in Grant's favor. So Grant wins the set 2-0. And
so that means Grant is now 4-0 and has not lost a single round in any of his matchups.
Yeah, he has 8-0 right now. So I guess we will bring Grant on for an interview. And